Okay, today will be a cute and quick episode where I am going to offer 5 tips and tricks that have dramatically helped the productivity and the efficiency of my classes. Please think about sharing this with your younger teachers, as I know teaching littles is a craft in itself that needs to be developed over time, but hopefully these 5 tips and tricks can help them along the way. Now, let's get into it. Okay, my first tip and trick for early education is singing to them. Different exposures to notes, tones, and words can help build neural pathways, especially in their corpus callosum, which connects their left and right side of their brain. Later, that will help strengthen and affect their movement control, emotional intelligence, and memory recognition. I create structure with singing in my classes, specifically when we do transitions. So my kids know whenever we come out of our circle dots in the beginning of class, I'm going to sing a transition song, which leads them to go to our blue waiting mat. So I always sing a song for there. I sing a song when we are doing our listen up song. I like to try to create consistency and structure with when I am singing. Sometimes I do it just for the whimsical fun of it, because that's also a benefit for them. But I also try to keep it consistent so that they can also learn the songs. They can sing them with me. A classic that I feel like is a tried and true is the cleanup song. All kids know it. They all love it. They can remember it for years and years. That is just a great example of how singing can be a benefit for our little ones and help us as we guide and educate them. My second tip for teaching our littles in our early education is simple words and instructions. This is something that I struggle with greatly as an early teacher, and something that I am still working on to try to not have overly lengthy directions. We are pretty much just setting them up for failure. So with that, 2 things that happen when we give too lengthy of directions. They don't process all of the words, so innately we are going to set them up to fail. It's like if I gave you the directions to a recipe. Not only do you have to retain the information, but now you have to retain and then replicate that information. And 2, they might complete the task, but we only have so much space in our brain to remember short-term memory. So they might be able to complete the task based off of the directions that you're giving them because they are able to remember in that short term. But because of the space, they now may eliminate what the actual lesson plan was because they're just trying to pick up and retain all of your directions. 2 ways that I have worked with creating a little bit more of a system for an easier and simplified direction. One is going to be train tracks. You can call it whatever you want. This is just what makes the most sense to me. So, for example, I might say, and I will make it as exciting as I possibly can, but okay, kids, when I say go, I want you to put your wand back in the home spot, and then I would like you to find your home spot on the dot. Go. If I feel like I can handle it or they can handle it, I might do a visual cue with that while I'm explaining it. I might break it down even quicker of say everything that I just said, and then I might go wand, home spot, you on the dot, go. This allows them a 1-2 step process. They know through other steps that we have talked about, and if you have not listened to my other 2 episodes, I would listen to those as creating structure in the middle of your class. They will know where the home spot is for the wands. They know how to put that away by themselves, which is creating accountability, and for them to be able to do that on their own is awesome. They will know where their wand spot is supposed to go. I have given them dots already pre-laid out for them so that they don't have to figure that out and use brain power for that. It is already laid out for them. Boom, boom, 2-step process. I will compliment them as they are going through that 2-step process because that's only encouraging the good behavior and the good habit building. Then once I notice a few of the kids, and this is where we say train tracks, we're going to build upon that. Once a couple of kids are starting to make their way to their dots, I might whisper to one of them, okay, can you go ahead and stand on one leg? Can you stand on one leg once you get to your dots? Then as the other kids are going to follow in, they're just going to see what's happening and follow suit. Then you have the whole class standing there on their dot, and then you have already repeated into the next direction where they're already activated and listening for what's going to follow after they get to that spot on their dot. My next approach is going to be called building blocks. So this is where we are going to, as it states, build upon the direction. Similar to train tracks, is we're not going to give them all of it at once, but building blocks is we're building to the initial concept. So the best way that I can describe this is when I do freeze dance. My kids know that when we do freeze dance, we start on the blue mat. When the music comes on, they get to dance around the room. When I pause the music, they are going to go back to their blue mat. Easy peasy. They know the foundation of the direction, the baseline. Now, the next round, they are already going to do music comes on and they dance, music stops and they freeze. I don't have to give verbal direction to that. They're already going to do that. So the next time that they pause, I'm going to say, okay, now this time when I turn the music back on, I want you to chasse around the room. I want you to hop on one foot. I want you to skip. Insert whatever, and I also like to call them challenge rounds. Insert whatever challenge round you want. Okay, now they repeat. Now the next time, we're going to keep that same skipping, hopping, whatever you decided. And now we're going to find a partner. So the next time Miss Courtney puts the music on, I want you to find a partner. And can you chasse around the room with holding hands with your partner? And we can move this on over and over again. They have the same foundation of music's on, we dance, music freezes, we stop. But we are able to add more and add challenges as we follow along with the game, because they have the baseline to where we're just adding a tiny bit of direction each round. My third tip and trick for early education is keeping the kids engaged and having an engaging classroom. Structuring the class in a way that keeps them adjusting and restructuring so that they are not getting sick and seeing the same thing over and over again. So for example, even where you are placing the activity. So I may start my classes, which I do, I start them in a circle. So then because we were in a circle for that extended period of time, I'm going to have the next activity be in a less unstructured shape. So for me, we start in a circle, and then as they are transitioning where they put their own dots away, then I transition them over with a song to our blue waiting mat. Then once we get to our blue waiting mat, one of our dancers gets to hand out the scarves to everybody. They know that, okay, we just went from here. Now we get to go change our scenery. Now we're going to go sit on the corner of the room on the mat. We're there. Now we're going to play freeze dance where we're going to be moving around the room, and I'm going to give them different challenge rounds. Unstructured, floating around space. They get to kind of have a little bit more of an exploration of the space. Then after that, now we can go in more of a structured position. So I may put two ladders out on the ground. I may put out dots. I may put out cones. Something where now they are going to sit by something. They are going to sit on top of something. They are going to be in a more structured shape, and we can go across the floor. Then immediately after that, we're going to again go back into a unstructured shape. This keeps them engaged. It keeps it fun. It keeps their brains active and learning, as well as behaviors typically on the better side because of it. Another way to keep your classroom engaging is end the activity before the kids are over it. This is a little tip within the tip. Say if we are playing a game, what we probably want to do and what we are doing is we are extending the full life of that game. Say they can do a game for 5 minutes. I think we want to try to play that game for 5 minutes and try to get every inch out of that so they can get the most out of it, and so that it fills time with an effective activity that they are learning from. But eventually at that 5-minute mark, they're going to be over it. They're going to be bored. They're going to be sick of it. Now, the next time that we play that game, their memory is not of the 4 minutes prior to them liking it and them staying engaged and them having fun. Their memory is that 5th minute where they were over it. So now when you suggest that game again, they're not going to be as apt to pay attention. They're not going to be as intrigued. They're not going to be as willing to participate because their memory of that was, I kind of got over that game, or I don't actually like that game. They're remembering, I don't like that game. So you want to stop it right at the peak so that the next time that you bring it up, they remember being engaged and being excited about it. My fourth tip and trick: everything and anything can be made into a game. A lot of my classrooms look like we're playing games majority of the time. Where I think a superpower can come in as a teacher is where you can make the education fun and where you can build it into a game. This is what also helps with their motivation system. This video is specifically for early education, but a great tip for anything above that. Ages 6 and up, their motivation is competition with their peers. They love competition, so anything that is a game where you are trying to learn a new technique or learn a new skill or work on a dance, the way that you can make that still fun by still getting the work done, make it into a game. My favorite game that I play in my classrooms is called Fairy House. It was created by one of my old students, Poppy, when she was 4 years old. She was one of my most magical students ever, so I play it in her honor. How I use Fairy House, I use it to go across the floor. Depending on the size of the class, I can split the kids up into as many groups as I need. For littles, I typically use cones or dots to mark where their fairy house is. I explain this is their fairy house, and I want everyone to close their eyes and picture what color is your house. What sparkles are flying around? What are you wearing? What color wings do you have? Then I have a cone or an object in the middle of the room. For example, say we're working on chasses that day. They are going to chasse from, say we have 4 corners out. They are going to chasse from 4 corners, one person at a time from each corner. Then, once you get to the middle cone, I want you to grab your partner's hands, and we're going to bourrée in a circle around the cone. Fill in whatever move you would like it to be, but they're going to move around the cone. Then I might signal with the sound effect once they hear it. Then on their own, they're going to have to reverse the circle with still holding hands. So there's a great team building exercise for them being able to think on their feet, think on their own, and giving different types of challenges. We're working as a technique going in, we're doing a move going in, we're trying something different around the circle. They have to work together. Then after they reverse the circle, I say, fairies, back to your fairy house, and they get to proceed back to their spot, and then it'll be the next person's turn. We can get through several things going across the floor, which is what we did. We went across the floor practicing new techniques, but to them, we just played a simple game of fairy house. And my 5th tip and trick for teaching in an early education platform is being silly and whimsical. This one is pretty self-explanatory. I think it helps you engage with the kids, but it also gets you in the state of mind of what they might be having fun with, what they might be getting inspired with. So then you are able to conduct your classrooms maybe from more of a headspace that they would be in. Singing, simple words and instructions, keeping the kids engaged, anything can be made in a game, and last but not least, being silly and whimsical. I hope these seem easy and actionable and can offer support within your classroom. I would love to hear feedback if you start utilizing any of these and how it's going. But in the meantime, please share away, help out a fellow educator, and let's start building a system for our kids to thrive.